Happy Hour with the Cardinals continues, and with us now is head coach Larry Holley, whose team will host Missouri Western here in just a few moments. For just being transparent, we're taping this the day before. But, Coach, welcome, and I know you're excited about the basketball season.
Yeah, we are. It's we've been anxious for quite some time, and we're playing 3 games this week against the MIAA. So. Tonight against Missouri Western and Thursday against Pitt State, then on the road against Missouri Southern. So we'll see how we do against all those Missouri and Kansas State schools this week.
Does it get, routine for you to open the season? Still butterflies? What's your feeling?
It's always an exciting time. I'll look forward to it. You could have, and we have almost everybody back from last year. We're missing a couple of starters, but you could have everybody back and the pieces wouldn't all fit the same. So the fun for me is putting those pieces together, trying to develop whatever we're going to do offensively and defensively that fits this group, and that's the exciting part for me. And now we'll put the product out there and see how we've done putting that together.
Second year with assistant coach Jimmy Williams, and I know he brought some new concepts last year. So are those concepts fitting in? I don't know. Are they easier to teach now, especially with a veteran group?
I think it fits us. We've been talking about putting the Virginia defense in. They call it the pack line, whatever you want to put, whatever you want to name it. And I think it fits us. And we'd kind of been tinkering with that for the last 3 or 4 years, but I'd never really had somebody on staff who had taught it full time for 2 or 3 years, and Coach Williams had done that, and he brings a lot of energy every day in practice. And last year was a learning experience for us. Some games we were pretty good, some games we were not. Hopefully, we'll be more consistent with it. Again, I think it fits us a little bit. The key, one of the keys for us is stopping dribble penetration and then preventing second and third shots. So. We're getting better at both those, and if we do a good job of defensive rebounding and keeping the basketball out of the paint in our team concept, that should help us at the defensive end.
Now, when you say that, keep the basketball out of the paint, it seems to me I remember some concept of that defense is to drive it toward the people in the middle of the floor.
Well, we are trying to do that. That's a difference for me. We've been forcing outside, forcing baseline, still cutting off baseline. This concept is to force to help but not give up anything in the post area. So the pack line, in the old system you had help and recover and all this sort of thing, and people adjusted. Well, in the pack line, your help is really already there. You're not having to help and then get back. You're already in that position. And if the guys without not defending the ball are where they're supposed to be, then that will help prevent getting the basketball in the lane area. It's a little different concept, but our guys are picking up on it, and I think they're gaining confidence in it as well.
Head coach Larry Holley, whose basketball team opens here in just a few moments, is our guest. Happy Hour with the Cardinals. Coach, I know it's changed, but how much has basketball coaching changed since you started?
Well, they don't jump center after every basket now. That changed back in 1937, and the width of the lane is now 12 feet rather than 6 feet, and that changed in 1957. Now, to be serious about it, 2 of the things that happened, in my coaching career, were the 3-point shot and the clock. I grew up in an era where people could hold the basketball the entire game if they wanted to, and that was difficult to watch. I only did it once in my coaching career, and I was so nervous about it, I probably threw up 2 or 3 times during the first half. I only did it for a half a game at UMKC. But in 1986-87, the powers that be put in the 3-point shot and put in a shot clock, and that has changed the game. A lot of people think that because of the 3-point shot, it's helped perimeter players only, but candidly, it helps your big men, because if those people have to extend their defense to come out and cover what was then a 2-point shot, then that opens it up on the inside for your big guys. And we've been pretty blessed to have some pretty good big guys over the years. But those 2 changes. There's more dribble penetration now. I think passing's always been a lost art, even back when I started coaching, because when people go out and play basketball in the driveway or wherever they are in the park and they're by themselves, they're not working on their passing. They're working on their dribbling. They're working on getting the ball to the rim. They're working on their three-point shot, whatever it might be. And so passing's still a little bit of a lost art, and that's something that hopefully this year's team is we do a better job with that. Last year, I think for the first time in my coaching career, we may have had more turnovers than assists. Now that's not all on the passer. Whoever's receiving that pass has to make the layup or the inside shot or the three-point shot or the short corner or whatever. So it's not all on the passer, but that's been a little bit of a lost art, I think, over the years. But again, basketball. You look at the Golden State Warriors, and my goodness, can those guys shoot the three? Well, guess what? When they come out and guard that, now it opens up the dribble drive. It opens up what you can do inside with your big folks. And I've always kind of been the conventional three-point guy. Throw it inside, make a field goal, get to the free throw line, get the other bigs in foul trouble, and then they're not guarding as tough in there. Maybe they're not blocking out as tough, later in the game. So, but there's a place for it, and it certainly has changed the game.
Larry Holley is again here, our guest, Happy Hour with the Cardinals. And you mentioned the change in 86-87. Bobby Knight's team was the first team to win the Division I title under that three-point and shot clock thing. One thing I remember Bobby Knight saying a long time ago was that players over the years haven't changed, parents have changed. You talk about that a little bit and maybe how you feel about that?
I think that's very accurate, and I happened to be at that game. I think they beat Syracuse in that game in '87 in New Orleans. I happened to be there. That was a terrific game, and Steve Alford was a pretty good three-point shooter, as I recall, for Indiana. But in terms of parents at the college level, I don't deal with that a lot. I only coach at the high school level once. But
let me interrupt you and ask you this, but is it changing? Do you deal with it more than you used to?
No, I don't know that I have. I think a pretty good thing to say to parents is, and I know a lot of my coaching friends at the high school level say this, I'll talk to you about anything except playing time. And that's a pretty good rule to have. And, players will come in. I mean, everybody wants more playing time. I used to do this years ago. I haven't done it in the last few years. We'd have a gathering of all the parents early in the year, and I would have them write down how many minutes per game they thought their child should play. Well, there's 200 minutes available, 5 times 40, and very seldom was it under 300 minutes that their children were going to play. So it's a little difficult to get that done, and it is a challenge. The challenge for college coaches is that almost everybody on your team most of the players on your team were probably the best player on their high school team, and they probably had the basketball in their hands a lot, and they'd certainly been a starter. Most of them all-stars, some of them all-state, some of them maybe McDonald's All-Americans. So let's say you have a 12-man roster. Well, you've got 7 guys adjusting to something they've never done, Rick. They're sitting on the bench. They're coming off the bench. One of the best things that ever happened to me, looking back on it in my career, I had gone to a tiny high school, and I had been a starter throughout my career. I came to William Jewell, and I sat the bench for about a year and a half before I became a starter. And had I not done that, I could say I know how you feel, but not really, And that was, looking back on it, that's one of the best things that happened to me. I didn't like it at the time, but it was good for me because I can relate to those guys. Because you want to be supportive of everybody out there, but maybe you're hoping maybe that guy gets his second foul or tweaks his ankle just a little bit. Not real bad, but just enough for you to get in the game and get a chance. So that's. But back to the parent situation, it is a challenge. I grew up in a small community. My dad was a school administrator and a coach. And I would listen to them talk about coaches getting fired because they didn't play a school board member's son or a booster's son or daughter or whatever it was. And so that hasn't changed. I mean, that pressure has always been there. I mean, coaches get fired for a lot of reasons, and parents can certainly be a challenge. There's some videos out that the NAIA has a great video out that I know Coach Slominski used to require all of her parents watch that video. And it is a challenge at every level. I talked to a coaching friend just yesterday, and he's already had 3 meetings with administrators because parents complaining about playing time, and they may even played a game, but they're not in the starting lineup or whatever in practice. So, everybody wants more playing time. Nobody's unbiased about their child, but I've been pretty blessed not to have a lot of situations like that. I'm sure I could introduce you to some parents that think I'm the best thing going, and then I could introduce you to some other folks that say you should never play for Larry Holley. He's biased, doesn't know how to establish roles, and all this sort of thing. That's just the nature of the business.
Larry Holley is our guest here. It's Happy Hour with the Cardinals. And the last topic I kind of want to cover with you a little bit is something very broad, but you're maybe uniquely qualified at Jewell to talk about this. What is the value of athletics? What do people get out of it? Because you were an athlete here in a number of sports. You've coached here, and you've seen other programs. You've been part of other programs. So basically, what should we be getting out of athletics, and how important is it?
Well, this all goes back to the way I grew up. I grew up in a household that both parents were very supportive of athletics. My father was a coach, and so I've always been around that. And life lessons, things don't always go your way. How do you react when something doesn't go your way on the field or on the court? But it's been obviously has occupied my professional life throughout it, and there are life lessons to be learned. The thing that I enjoy as much as anything right now, outside of actually coaching the team, are watching the young men that I have coached over the years and how they evolve, adults, parents, and going to their weddings and seeing how all that evolves. And it's a great joy to me to be invited to those. Number one, even maybe I didn't play them enough. When I get to their wedding, and I'd give them a bigger gift because I didn't play them as much as they should have. That's not true, but
Coach, you didn't play me at all, so I'll be.
But it's amazing. I mean, I still remember taking classes from Dr. Norris Patterson, who was my advisor, who was the chair of our department here for years and years, and those lessons learned about what athletics was about. What education is, the sum total of all your experiences, both in the classroom and outside the classroom. And it's been a joy to be a part of that in watching young people grow and how their lives do develop. And hopefully I've been a good influence in that regard. I was very blessed to have parents who were supportive of me in athletics, to have a high school coach who was supportive and taught me life lessons, to play for Jim Nelson and Daryl Gorley here as a student athlete. Those people were amazing. Everybody hasn't been as fortunate as me, but hopefully all those people who have influenced me have allowed me to have some type of positive experience on the student athletes that I've had the honor of coaching. And it is a great profession. Athletics are more good than bad. There are some bad apples there, as there are in any profession, and some, there might be some coaches that I wouldn't want my child to play for various reasons, but for the most part, it's been a great thing, whatever the sport is. We now have 440 student athletes at William Jewell College, and I'm honored to be with these other coaches. There's 20 teams here, and we're all trying to get to the top of the GLVC and get to the top of NCAA Division II. But I learn life lessons from these coaches daily, and watching athletes in other sports as well. And I'm honored to be the men's basketball coach here and have a great staff to work with. But I think it's working here at William Jewell pretty well, and if we can just keep working really hard, I think all the teams can get where they want to be in the GLVC.
I know, speaking of working really hard, your kids will work hard tonight against Missouri Western, and again Thursday night at home. Want to make sure people know that there are 2 chances to see the Cardinals this week. Larry Holley, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy Hour with the Cardinals, and we'll be back here in just a moment.